circle down the fort, we'll keep on our right-hand side. You'll notice the tower in the middle, that is the command tower. It's in here where all the officers were stationed, and also all the communications that used to send information back ashore to say the German Luftwaffe has been spotted. Then we could have sent up the Spitfires, yes, to be sent up to shoot them down as well. Hanging down from the command tower there is a cable stay bridge. Now this was placed here, connecting it with the southernmost tower. It was part of the Red Sands project. 180 men were stationed out here during the war. They used to do a 4-week on, 4-week off rota. Although you weren't exactly off, you would have been taken ashore where you would have served at HMS Wildfire, perhaps loading the ammunition barges to then be sent out to the ports to your colleagues. Barges would have come out here and lay alongside the legs. If we look at the searchlight tower down at the very base there, you can see a horizontal metal beam, some bollards on it. This is the barge loading dock. Barges would have laid alongside there, and by using the derrick sticking out from the top deck there, winched up the boxes of ammunition. So fanning out from the central command tower, you would have had a gantry that went out to all the other towers, linking them all together. The gantries are actually still out here, but they rest below on the riverbed. They all collapsed over the course of the 1980s and early 90s. And now just lay as wreckage on the riverbed. Occasionally we do get a little blip on our echo sounder as we pass between the ports, just to remind us that they're down there. But the depth of the water where we are here, particularly at high tide, is around about 10 metres. So that's the distance from the top of the surface of the water down to the base. At low tide, we're expecting it to be around about 5 metres. Looking out to our left-hand side, you can see the shivering sand towers in the distance. But how many towers can you all see? 5? The Bofors Tower and the Command Tower are in transit, so you can't see the Command Tower of the shivering sands. They're in line with one of the others. So there is actually 6 over there. And the distance between the main body of the fort and the searchlight tower that still stands is obviously much greater from a distance here. So that's the shivering sands down there. But I'll do it on my next pass. I'll come back to that in a minute. As we come back round, back toward the G1, which is the southernmost tower, you'll notice on the top it's still got one of the radio masts left over from the transmission days, the pirate radio stations. There's also a small little wind turbine on the top, which has been placed up there by the Red Sands project to keep certain electronics in there going. It's not producing much electricity today. So we're passing around the Bofors Tower again, and we're now heading back round to our left, keeping all the forts over on our left-hand side. Were responsible for shooting down 22 enemy aircraft, including V1 and V2 rockets. In the diaries of the Red Sand Towers, they reported shooting down an enemy aircraft, and it fell into the sea around about a quarter of a mile to the south. On our charts, we do have a marked out wreck, which is sort of maybe about 300-400 metres over to our right towards the wind farm. but we're not entirely sure exactly what it is. Obviously the river is quite murky. Going back to the searchlight tower, passing around the north of it, you'll see there's a load of cables, wires hanging out from the lower deck. Whilst the generators are still there, they are in various forms. People have again pillaged them over time, souvenir hunters. The urban explorers haven't exactly done us any favours either. There's been various plans to try and restore the forts, including perhaps turning it into a hotel and a museum, none of which I think will realistically take off. Once they were positioned out here in 1940, so we had the Navy forts in 1942, and by 1943 the Army forts then joined them. The Luftwaffe then started trying to fly further north over Norfolk, which was a little bit less armed. So what they were coming from Arnhem Bridge, which is now Holland, but it was back then that was where the majority of the bombers were setting off from, and they were flying up the Thames. But they started then going much further north over Norfolk, which obviously meant that these towers, over the course of 44 and 45, really didn't see much activity.